Ms. St. John, since January 25th, individuals have died in ICE custody on the Trump administration's watch. And this year, 25 have died, and we still have 1 month more to go. This is the highest number of deaths per year that we have had on record in the past 2 decades. 2 of those deaths occurred at the Adelanto ICE Processing Center in San Bernardino, California, which is run by the private for-profit prison company, GEO, and is amongst the most troubled and dangerous ICE facilities in the country. One of those cases was Ismael Ayala Uribe, a 39-year-old California resident who had lived in the United States since he was 4 years old and was a DACA recipient. After being arrested, he fell gravely ill at Adelanto, and his desperate pleas for help were ignored. Instead of receiving basic, timely medical treatment, Ismael experienced delays in care that ultimately cost him his life as he awaited the surgery that could have saved him. Another death was Gabriel Garcia Aviles, a 56-year-old father and grandfather who had lived in the United States for 3 decades. After a brief period in Adelanto custody, he was transferred to a local medical facility due to suspected alcohol withdrawal syndromes. Gabriel's family desperately tried to get more information on his whereabouts and condition, but Adelanto's staff repeatedly failed to answer or return their calls. When they finally received any answer on Gabriel, it was to be told to come and say their final goodbyes. Gabriel was declared dead in October, and a coroner told his family that she would not be conducting an autopsy and that they would declare his death due to natural causes. These cases are proof that Adelanto's long track record of inadequate medical care and preventable deaths is getting worse and worse. And that's why I have demanded accountability and transparency from ICE on these deaths and the increasingly dangerous conditions inside these facilities, especially as the administration does everything that it can to stop members of Congress like myself from entering the facilities to conduct our legal oversight. And that's also why I continue to call for Adelanto's immediate closure. So, Ms. St. John, what do the circumstances surrounding Ismael's and Gabriel's death tell us about the systematic failures in this administration's ICE facilities and their ability to care for and communicate with families and people in their custody? And based on what you see on the ground, do you expect preventable deaths in ICE custody to keep rising?
Unfortunately, the situation that you describe with both Ismael and Gabriel's death in custody sound entirely familiar. With deaths in custody in Arizona, we also have seen similar patterns of refusal to take people for specialized care that was necessary, things like surgeries, misdiagnosis, or failure to do a proper differential diagnosis of alternative reasons that people might be suffering their pain. It sounds like that might be some of what was going on with the alcohol withdrawal syndrome. And generally, again, a lack of care towards people who have serious medical conditions. In Arizona, we had a gentleman pass away earlier this year who had completely untreated HIV, and I think something in the range of 8 opportunistic infections that ultimately took his life. So it's completely what we would expect, unfortunately. And I will say that in terms of the lack of communication with families, also that is completely standard. And it also is to counsel. When our clients get taken to the hospital, we have no contact with them.
Thank you so much, Ms. Chu. Now let me recognize